Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Jeffrey Lazarus, and you are watching Welcome to Capsized on the Gaming Vector. Capsized is an Xbox Live indie arcade title priced at $10. And let's go ahead and jump into it and take a look. So, the basis for this game, as you might be able to tell from this opening scene, is that your character is an astronaut of some sort, and you crash land on this alien planet, and you're going to supposedly find your friends and try and get off the planet, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and skip through this real quick, and we'll see if we can't load it into the game where I left off earlier. So first things first, let's go ahead and take a look at our options menu. On the how to play screen, there you can see your controls. I'll leave those up for just a minute so that you can kind of get an idea of what the controls are and what you have available to you. You do have a jetpack, you can jump, as well as multiple different types of weapons and different firing options for all of those weapons, as well as an auto-targeting ability. If you don't auto-target, the game functions much like a twin-stick shooter. You do also have an item known as the gravity hook, which we'll take a look at here in a minute. The controls screen is exactly the same thing. If we drop down to settings here, we can look at game settings, where you can turn on or off auto-switching when your weapon runs out of ammo, as well as turning on or off your compass that leads you to the exit to the level. You also have different sound sliders for music and sound effect volume, and you can also play local co-op throughout the campaign. There is no online co-op as far as I've seen, though. So outside of those, let's go ahead and, being that this is an Xbox Live Arcade title, we'll take a quick look at the achievements. As you can see, I've already got a couple because I've played a little bit of the game, but if you are an achievement junkie, this game is going to take you a long time to complete because you need to, from the best I can tell, be able to perfectly play through the game. You know, get at least 100 stars in the campaign, beat every level without dying, find all of the secrets. So if you are going for all the achievements, it is going to take a while. The game does also have leaderboards and an arcade mode. And the arcade modes are bot match, where basically you're fighting AI in a death match. You have time trial, where you have to grab oxygen in order to survive. You have survival, where you're simply just fighting wave after wave of enemies. And you have armless, where you have no weapons. So this is very much an action platformer with some puzzle elements. For the time being, let's go ahead and jump into the campaign. As you can see, we're on the second mission. The first one is Crash Site. The second one is Abduction. I didn't do fantastic on Crash Site, as you can tell, so don't expect this to be fantastic gameplay. But if we go ahead and jump in here, we can look at the difficulty setting. I'm just going to leave it on medium. We can also look at our campaign stats. So you can see I died 4 times in the first level, killed 52 enemies, found 1 secret, so on and so forth. Now let's go ahead and jump into some gameplay here, and while we are waiting for the loading screen, you can see our objective is to locate an endangered crewmate. And it looks like we may have a new type of enemy to face as well, if the loading screen is to be believed. So we're going to go ahead and press A to start. Now, as you can see, this is a side-scroller. It is a platform game. You can jump, but let's go ahead and take a look at some things. So down in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see our health bar as well as our number of lives. And those floating icons give us different weapons. So if you look in the lower right, you can see we have a pulsar weapon, 500 rounds. By pressing Y, we can switch back to our blast carbine, which is a single-shot weapon but has infinite ammunition. And we were talking about the different firing types earlier, so let's go ahead and take a look at those real quick. So, for instance, the blast carbine, with the right trigger, you can fire single shots, but if you hold down the right bumper, you can fire a charge shot. And the pulsar functions much the same way. Right trigger is an automatic fire, whereas the right bumper uses several shots of ammunition and is essentially a shotgun blast. Now, you may notice the other bar down at the bottom center. The fuel bar, that is for your jetpack. We don't have any fuel right now, so we cannot activate our jetpack. So let's go ahead and try not to die to this thing. Oh, wow. Alright. So, probably should have switched to the pulsar since it gave it to me. There we can see a whole bunch of enemies around the corner there. So as you can see right here, I'm aiming manually, but if I hold down the left bumper, the game will auto-aim for me, which is handy with the number of enemies on the screen and the amount of moving you need to do. Taking a lot of damage for no reason right there. Yeah, we can kill these things if we can just line up our shots on them. And also what you'll see here is we can actually blow through parts of the environment as well. And in doing so, we can also... That's not what I meant to do. But we can also use our gravity hook to grab these rocks and get ourselves killed immediately. But you can use those rocks as shields or use them to, throw against enemies, things of that nature. So let's go ahead and head back down here. Now, as you can see, when you respawn, luckily you don't have to fight your way through all the enemies again. There we are. We managed to shoot our way through there. Now, we can see some items up there, and if we had our jetpack, those would be easily gotten items. But since we don't, we may still be able to get them because we can actually wall jump. Oh, actually, there's some items in here. So, whoop. If we aim and... Okay, that's in the background. But that is not. Let's kill this thing before too much else happens here. Now, we can use our gravity hook and grab a hold of this and then pull it over. Oh, we could pull it over, but I've managed to get it wedged. So one issue that I do find with this game is, like, this creature right here in front of me, for example, I don't know that that's not a hostile enemy until I actually run into it. So one of the things that can happen is you can end up wasting a bunch of ammo shooting at something that actually won't damage you or can't damage you. Now, granted, ammo conservation isn't a huge thing in this title, but it would be nice to have a little bit more feedback on what can actually do damage to you. So here you can see we can actually get over this. There's some of the wall jumping in action, but if we drop down in here, we now have another weapon, the Immolator. I haven't gotten this weapon yet because it wasn't in the first level, but got a pretty good idea what it does. Let's see if we can't use our gravity hook to... Yep. So we can use the gravity hook for platforming as well as grabbing items, although I'm not very good at it because I don't know if it's just that I'm having trouble with the controls. Oh, okay, well, there's the Immolator. I don't know if I'm just having trouble with the controls or if it's just not very well optimized for a 360 controller. Oh, there's more enemies. I think it may be mostly column A. I may just not be very good with the controls on this game because the platforming feels very, very floaty, and the targeting never seems to come off as quite right to me. And what is in there that I'm taking damage from, I wonder? Oh, we forgot to check the alt fire. It's some sort of electrical field. Well, that's kind of cool, I suppose. Not a clue how to get into there. It doesn't appear that this is a hidden passageway of any kind. Although we do now have fuel for our jetpack. So let's go ahead and check out the jetpack. Now, basically, instead of like pressing the X button to activate your jetpack and it just thrusting you upwards, instead you turn on your jetpack and then you are free to maneuver around in pretty much whatever way you see fit, as long as you have fuel. The minute you run out of fuel, you will plummet and long falls will kill you. You can see kind of using that thing as a shield. And there you saw the auto weapon switch. As soon as I ran out of ammo, it just went ahead and kicked me over to the next weapon, which is something that I'm very happy is in here. It's one of the better features of the game, because then I don't have to worry as much about ammo conservation. And I know for some people, like, ammo conservation is kind of a big thing. They like having that being kind of a, I don't know if I want to say feature necessarily, but they like having that as something that can really affect their gameplay, is, you know, conserving certain types of ammo. And I'm getting absolutely wrecked by these things. What is hitting me? There we are. Okay, so now we can... Oh, it's those. Alright. And that's the wrong button. Die. Thank you. Oh, wow. So as you can see, this isn't an easy game by any means. This is one of the... Actually, one of the things I would consider to be an issue with the game is sometimes you get into those dark areas like those caves, and you just simply can't tell what's shooting at you. It's really can be rather annoying. Not even necessarily what's shooting at you, but just what's hitting you. You get these, you know, small dark-colored creatures, and they jump all over you. And there's what happens when we die, yet again. As you can see, it usually spawns you in a relatively safe place, and not too far from where you died, so you don't lose a whole lot of progress when you actually fail, which is nice. Especially a game that's, you know, really supposed to be very, very challenging, from the best that I can tell anyway. It's not supposed to be an easy game to complete. That's why they have, or I would assume that's why they have the achievements set up the way they are, where it's, you know, basically perfect the game and you get all the achievements, rather than, you know, just defeat the game and, you know, maybe do half of the stuff that's in there. So there we can see, wow. Alright. I'm playing horribly, not that that's terribly surprising. I'm still rather new at this game, and I haven't really got the nuances of the controls. Like I say, I have issues with the platforming. I don't know 100% if that's just me, or if it's an issue with the game and the way it controls. I feel like it's because the platforming is so floaty, and it may be something you get used to over time. Here we can see the exit to the level, and we can actually leave. And then here you can see your level completion, your time, how many deaths you had, difficulty score, secrets found, and my total score was 4 stars, which is surprising considering I died 3 times. And there you see it just moves us on along to the next campaign mission. So, as I was saying, and I'm just going to go ahead and continue playing along here, but I don't know if the issue with the platforming is my own issue with the fact that it's, like, I can tell you for a fact that it's floaty. It's definitely got a floaty feel when you jump. Oh, I guess we could have used our flashlight in the dark areas, so... Well, there's that issue mitigated, and me just forgetting that that was an option. But I don't know, and that's really my only issue with the game, is the floaty platforming. And like I say, I feel like it's an issue with the game. I don't feel like it's me just being bad at it per se, but I feel like it's floatier than it should be. Now, that being said, you know, if you're going to try and play this game to completion, we just got a new weapon. Plasma mortar. Oh, that'll be interesting. But if you're going to be playing the game to completion, I'm assuming that you will, you know, eventually get a really good handle on the controls and be able to, you know, do these platforming segments with little to no effort. So, I guess it's really comes down to how much time you're willing to spend with the title. Let's get our flashlight turned around so I can... Jeez! Alright. Let's just jetpack in there. Why don't we be smart about this and just... There we are. Alright. Yeah, I feel like that if this is a game you like these kind of puzzly elements sometimes of having to move these rocks around to get through certain areas or to block against certain enemy attacks, I feel that... Oh, it switched my weapons. There we are. I feel like this is a game that... Oh, it just... Oh, okay. Oh, I can't get a thought out because things keep swapping on me here. Alright. But if this is the type of game you're interested in, this kind of puzzle platformy game with some combat elements, actually a substantial amount of combat elements, and some pretty cool weapons, and you can get used to this kind of floaty style of platforming, or that's, you know, something that you prefer, because I know it is in a lot of ways just a personal choice. Say, I may not like it, but I know that some other people might, so that's, you know, that's my own personal gripe, I suppose. But if you like that style of platforming, and, oh, that thing just tore my head off. Cool. Still can't get a thought completed because, well, the game keeps trying to murder me. But yeah, if you don't mind the floaty jumping, which it's becoming less and less of an issue the more and more I play, and also there's not a whole lot of really difficult platforming, at least early on. But if you can get used to the control scheme and you really like this style of game and trying to, like, hunt out all the secrets and... Oh, get away from me. Yeah, trying to hunt out all the secrets and get all the different weapons and, you know, get all the high scores and beat your friends on the leaderboards and whatnot, then, yeah, this is actually a really, really good game for those type of people. Unfortunately, that's not something that I'm terribly interested in, so... You know, I'll probably give it a run through in the campaign and then maybe play the arcade mode until I get bored with it, and that'll probably be about as far as my experience with the game ends up going. But for people who really, really enjoy these style of games, this is not a bad one to pick. So I've been having a reasonable amount of fun with it. I can see the enjoyment. It's just... mostly that this really isn't my style of game, I suppose. And I think that that's a fair assertion. I can see that the game is good at what it does. It controls well for the most part. The wall jumping is a little finicky. And I don't like floaty platforming, but that's, once again, personal taste. But in the long run... I think that... what am I stuck on? You silly game. Wow, alright. Yeah, I can see that this is... It's a well put together game. It's, you know, it's reasonably fun. It's not my style of game, and I think that that's okay. Not everybody has to love every kind of game, let's be fair here. That would be nigh on impossible. But if this looks like something you're interested in, I do recommend checking it out, because if you like this style of game, then this will fit you perfectly, and I think you'll really enjoy it. And say, for me, it's, you know, reasonably fun. Like I say, I'll play through it once and then probably never touch it again. But yeah, that's pretty much my final verdict. It's a good game, it's just not my kind of game, if that makes any sense. But if this type of gameplay is something you enjoy, then I highly recommend that you give this a shot and see what you think of it. And for people who really enjoy these difficult leaderboard-based style games like this, I would really like to hear, you know, kind of your thoughts on it and what you think about it. And if you have any of the same issues I have, or if you feel that, you know, the game plays perfectly, or whatever it may be, I would love to hear some differing opinions on this, because I haven't heard anything about this game until today when I picked it up and decided to make this video. So with all of that said, I have been your host, Jeffrey Lazarus, and this has been Welcome to Capsized on the Gaming Vector. Thank you for watching.